All right, let's delve deeper now into these disturbing stories. Joining us for this conversation, we are going to talk to Matakanye. He is part of the National School Governing Bodies. That's the association. Also joining us for the conversation is a representative from the National Association of School Governing Bodies, rather Naptosa. This is now a union that is based here in Gauteng. Ndivhaleni Madzena is a representative from that union. To both of you, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Can I start with you, Mr. Matakanye, and begin with the school, the Davidton Skills School, and that's where an independent report has come out relating to the April drowning of 2 pupils from that school who were on an excursion. The school governing body found to have been completely absent in how this excursion was organized in the first place. How do you respond to those sentiments? All right, I think Mr. Matakanye is still trying to connect with us. Let's perhaps bring into the conversation Mr. Ndivhaleni Madzena from Naptosa. Mr. Madzena, good evening to you. Same question that I'm going to pose to you relating to the school drowning incident. Where does Naptosa sit relating to the findings of this independent report?
Thank you, and good evening, viewers. It is highly appalling that after 30 years of freedom, we are still talking about racism. It is much more appalling that we are talking about racism of people who were born many years after our democracy. Now, the greatest question is, where do they learn this type of an animal that it's dividing the people of South Africa? It was going to be now good as the people of South Africa and as children to be able to work together for the future of our country. So as Naptosa, we would like to condemn all acts of racism. And we do believe that these acts of racism can be stopped. You see, the first teacher of a learner is the parent. And then children learn by seeing. So the more the parents are not directing their children accordingly, then we are going to have a very serious challenge.
Yeah.
We would like the parents to teach their children at home about inclusivity, to teach them about diversity, to tell them that we are all human beings, irrespective of how different we might look. So I do believe that now anything and everything that is dividing these learners starts at home.
All right, and you have chosen, Mr. Madzena, to start with the racism allegations at various schools in South Africa, because it's not confined to one particular province. And as you say, you probably have hit the nail on the head here when you say this kind of behavior, in all likelihood, it is not learnt at school. This is something that comes from the home environment, because children are not born racist. So how do we address it? How do schools address it or address a problem whose origins likely come from home?
Teachers are in a good position to can assist alleviating the challenge of racism by teaching inclusivity, by making sure that they allow children to talk their stories about their backgrounds, about where they come from, so that these children, they will know that while they are from different backgrounds, they are still the same children of the same country. And also this will assist in teaching what we call humanity, that children must not separate themselves as to how different they might look, but they must know that their strength should lie in their difference, that they must know that their diversity is the one that is going to make them strong and is the one that is going to make their country work, because these children are the basis of our future. If we have children who are still racist now, then you can just wonder what will be happening 10 years from now when these children are much more older. So we better nip it in the bud now by teaching these children correctly. And teachers are in a good position to can do this.
Yeah. We'll talk about specific cases in a moment. I perhaps want to talk to you about what has been proposed recently by the president through his speech at the opening of Parliament. And he again repeated what was a proposal just before the election results, I think, were announced, where he seemed to agree with former President Thabo Mbeki that perhaps what the country needs right now is a national dialogue. This national dialogue is going to help us vent if we need to vent, address matters very publicly in public platforms so that the country as a whole is united about the way forward. Do you think that the proposal of a national dialogue to deal with our issues as South Africans is perhaps a good start?
A national dialogue can assist a lot, but I believe much in modeling. You know, if we talk and we don't put into practice what we are talking, then it will not be of any assistance. So when it comes to the issues of racism, modeling is very much important, especially by adults, you know, because learners or children learn by seeing. So if we model, if we ourselves as adults, we are more inclusive, if the dialogue will be more inclusive, will be more diverse. And while the learners will be watching, or the children will be watching, seeing the people of different backgrounds working together, and this will be a proper modeling for the future of our country. And I think that can assist, as long as we are inclusive and we are focusing on our diversity, and we show that our differences do not divide us.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Matakanye from the National School Governing Bodies, the association, has now finally joined. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for joining this conversation. We are discussing with Mr. Madzena the question of racism at schools and why it is becoming more and more pronounced. Why are we seeing such from the perspective of the school governing bodies?
Good evening, Toli, and good evening, all your viewers. It is very regrettable, Toli, that since the advent of democracy for the last 30 years, we are still having the remnants or apartheid, because these remnants, they are still practicing what they used to practice during the system of apartheid. So it therefore means we still have those remnants. And those remnants are spoiling their children. They are condemning their children because children are copycats. What they are doing in school is what they've been taught at home, or what they are modeling at home, where their parents always will tell them that these black people, because most of the black people are still working under these people, the remnants of apartheid. They're still working there. So when they teach their children at home, they are saying these black people probably are just slaves, are just workers, you know, they are nothing, and all those things. So because you don't understand that we have killed this apartheid 30 years ago, but the animal is still limping, going on. And I don't know, we thought we have cut this animal, the four-legged, then it's no more moving its end. There it is, it rears its ugly head in our schools. among our children. And we want to really condemn and say, government is now time that they must make a law that we don't punish these children anymore. We punish the community where they come from. We punish their parents. And their parents and community where they come from must be published in the newspapers. And even this platform of yours, Tony, we must use it to call them. They call them name and shame them, those remnants. They are very, very few. There's very, very few, so we have to deal decisively with those remnants.
As the Association of School Governing Bodies, is there a particular role that you think you can play within the school environment to try and address the problem of racism?
Of course, we have been addressing it through the power that we have. The power that we have as school governing body is to formulate code of conduct for learners. And hence, these 12 learners are being suspended by the school governing bodies. And I believe somewhere this week, then there will be a hearing. And that is the power that we have. So then we call upon the school government to be very decisive. But you see, the problem is that we may punish the children, but at the same time, then we leave out the remnants at home or in the communities there. However, then those remnants, they were given that policy, and the community was given that policy to say racism is not tolerable in the school. Nobody will tolerate that type of an animal in the school. But you see, as I said earlier on, Tony, is that, you see, these remnants are, then it's the government that must stand up, as much as we formulate policies, code of conduct for learners in the school, but the government must also help us so that we get these remnants and heal these remnants. Then we must make sure that we destroy them. We destroy that. Time is now that these remnants must be destroyed, because it cannot be. It therefore means these 12 children also, they are going to continue teaching their children, teaching their community about this animal that we thought it is now dead forever. Yeah. So we must deal decisively with this so that it ends up with these 12 learners, but we see to it that now their community where they come from, it is shamed. The parents of these children shamed, because these are the people who are teaching them to say this other color does not exist. All right. Probably God made a mistake.
Mr. Madzena, let's come to you. The representative of the SGBs says perhaps naming and shaming will be the way to go, because the people who are still teaching racism or racist behavior to their children, they are far and few in between. And therefore, by shaming them publicly, you perhaps will end this kind of behavior. We also know, though, Mr. Madzena, that racism is a crime in this country. Do you think that more and more of these cases need to go to our courts so that we can see these people? The media cameras are there. We can see them being taken through the court process and eventually being punished, so that people are able to see that this has consequences. Do you think we are seeing enough of these cases being publicized?
Yeah, I don't think we are seeing enough of such cases being publicized, because most of them maybe are just swept under the carpet. And then maybe you find that now the victims, they don't even know what to do. Maybe they're afraid even to come out. So I do believe that what we need is education and awareness. We need to advocate this issue of racism. We need learner activists. We need learners to be in the center of their schools, whereby they will be able to can report these issues of racism as quickly as possible, so that we can deal with them before they spread across. Because you see, in schools where you'll find that now there is maybe unbalanced, there's no inclusivity, you'll find that now those who feel threatened, they don't even talk about how they're being treated. So it's very much important that we need to make these children aware of themselves and aware that the law is against racism. And then immediately when we give them this education, and in fact, there must be some form of anti-racism lessons that must be given to these learners. And also, what is it that they must do immediately when somebody is becoming a racist against them? We need to make them aware, and we need to give them education. And this will stop the spread and will assist the country a lot. And then we know that now, at the end of the day, then the court will have to take the decision that justice is being done.
All right. Mr. Matakanye, I want to change the topic now from racism to the question of safety in schools. And the Davidson Skills School, an independent report has come out now, and it is not talking nicely about the school governing body of that school. Basically, they were non-existent. They were not even aware that their children were being taken on an excursion. What is the absence about? Do you think that the SGB there is active enough?
Let's commend the Department of Education to have gone through the process, and finally they have the answers. We are no more going to speculate. The answers is that the principal is remiss. The principal is a careless father in the school, is negligent, that principal, according to the report.
Yeah.
And we are saying, Tony, now that principal must go away. We can't afford to have such a leader who will go and organize excursion without the knowledge of parents, with his or her friends, and they go there, they leave our children to die alone there. That principal and his friends or her friends must leave the school. I think we want to call upon the department to make sure that that principal must go home, must not anymore allowed to work with our children. Then it shows the principal has taken away the power of the school governing body. It is true. And that is not only Davidson. It's all over. These guys take away the power of the school governing body. They are principal and they are school governing body at the same time. Now, there it is. The elephant in the room, Kuli, is this type of principals who are taking away the powers of the school governing body so that they can play around with their friends through the lives of our children. And that cannot be accepted. It is not really accepted. So we want to call upon the department and say, please, that man must not smell or must put his foot in that school. Otherwise we can't. And there is law, child protection law, just those laws, they're saying if this person cannot work with children, he must not be or she must not be come next to the children. And that person, it has been found out that that principal is negligent. Therefore, he can't be allowed to work with our children. We don't want to see other children dying because of that principal. Because he is the Department of Education, he did not even sign anything that comes, because you have to get permission. He undermines even the department. He undermines the school governing body. He undermines the community. He undermines everybody. He's doing let the principal go away.
Mr. Madzena, final thoughts from you on the question of safety at schools, and I'm going to move away from the Davidson Skills School. Today on this channel, we're also reporting about an incident at a school in KZN where an assailant, because that's what they were, an assailant walked into the school pretending to be a parent and wanted to go to a particular class, and in there, they shot dead a teacher. What needs to be done to ensure that there is safety in schools, or safety is enhanced in schools?
Safety must become a top priority in schools for all the stakeholders inside the schools, for the learners, for the teachers, and even for the parents. Schools must be a safe haven. The people in school must experience what we call physical safety. The people in school must see to it that now they also are protected emotionally. There's an emotional safety. There is cyber safety. All kinds of safeties are needed in a school. And the SGB, together with the principal, they are in a position whereby they can assist in seeing to it that the environment in the school is conducive for teaching and learning. And there is nobody who can teach or learn in an unsafe environment. So if we have maybe an attack, or somebody who can just get into the school and attack a learner or attack a teacher, then nobody will feel safe in that school. So automatically they cannot learn as they're supposed to. So it is very much important that we need to prioritize the issue of safety, to see to it that people inside the schoolyard and around the school are safe. So it is up to the stakeholders like SGB, the principal, and the teachers there to come up with systems and implement what is necessary, because I do believe that there are also policies by the department which need to be followed. And then it is very much important that now these policies and so on, they should be advocated, because sometimes you'll find that now teachers within the school don't even know about those policies. So it is very much important that we need, again, to educate and to make sure that the stakeholders' primary role, before everything can start, is the safety of everybody inside the schoolyard.
Mr. Madzena, I want to thank you very much for your time. He is with the union Naptosa. Alongside him, Matakanye, he is from the National Association of School Governing Bodies. I want to thank both of you for your contribution to this discussion. In fact, that last question to Mr. Madzena, dealing with a teacher that was shot dead inside a school. That school, it's at the Pigiswayo Primary in Nduzuma. That's an area in Durban. This was a mother of 3, those children now without a mother.